The rain started early that October, steady, unbroken, washing the color out of the town long before Halloween ever arrived. Every morning, the sky hung low and grey, like a ceiling about to collapse, and on the far end of Bellevue Street, where the asphalt cracked into mud and roots, sat the last house anyone wanted to see. They called it the Halloway house, though no one remembered who the Halloways were. The story went that the wood itself came from a shipwreck, that the walls whispered in the wind, that every Halloween, someone new moved in, and didn't last till November. But legends are cheap, and Daniel Hurst didn't believe in legends. He just needed a place to start over. Daniel's life had split cleanly in half, before the divorce and after. He didn't drink, didn't fight, didn't even raise his voice, but something about the silence between him and his wife had hollowed him out. He told himself the move wasn't running away. It was healing. The house was cheap. Too cheap. The realtor smiled too much when she handed him the keys. He didn't notice how her hands trembled until later. The first night, he unpacked enough to find his coffee maker, an old armchair, and a blanket that still smelled faintly of her perfume. He sat by the window, watching rain slide down the glass like veins on skin. Peaceful, almost forgiving. By morning, that peace had changed. Daniel opened the front door and froze. 3 pumpkins sat neatly on his porch. He hadn't carved them, hadn't bought them. Each one had a different expression, a wide smile, a deep frown, and one with eyes carved too large, too human. Across their bases, one word stretched through all 3, welcome. He chuckled under his breath. Probably kids. Halloween pranks. He threw them in the trash and went back inside. But when he made coffee, the faint smell of burnt wax drifted through the kitchen, and from somewhere deep in the walls came a low, dragging scrape, like a knife carving wood. That night, he dreamed of orange light flickering behind his eyelids. He woke to thunder, heart racing, unsure why. The clock read 3:12 a.m. And from outside, that same soft scrape. He told himself it was branches, just the wind. But he didn't sleep again. By morning, there were pumpkins again. Not 3, 4. They sat in a perfect square at the top of his steps. The carvings were different this time, smaller, more intricate. Daniel crouched closer. The lines weren't random. They formed rooms. His rooms. The kitchen. The hallway. The living room. Every detail exact. Even the dent in the floorboard by the fridge. Someone had been inside. He ran through the house, checking doors, locks, windows. Everything was secure. And yet, when he looked out the window again, the pumpkins glowed softly in the rain, like they were watching him. He didn't go outside again that night. The next morning, something changed. His reflection was wrong. Just slightly, the jawline sharper, the eyes duller, the skin a little grey. He told himself it was the lighting, lack of sleep. He didn't notice the 5th pumpkin until he tripped over it. It sat directly in front of the door. No face, no markings, just smooth, pale skin. And beside it, a wood-carving knife. Old. Sharp. The handle worn smooth as bone. He hesitated, then picked it up. The blade was warm. Too warm. He set it on the counter and left it there. But that night, as the rain fell harder, he could have sworn he heard the faint sound of carving, coming from the kitchen. He didn't look. He couldn't. By the 7th day, the house had changed. Not visibly. but in the way it felt. Every room breathed differently. The air moved like it had lungs. He found fresh scratches on the doorframe, thin, deep lines that hadn't been there before. And when he followed them, he realized they connected. A continuous carving pattern, wrapping along the baseboards and up the stairwell, like a pulse. At 3 a.m., he heard the scrape again. This time, from the attic. He climbed the stairs slowly, flashlight trembling in his hand. The air thickened as he reached the top. The smell hit him first, sweet rot, candle wax, and damp wood. He pushed the attic door open. The beam of light caught them one by one. Dozens of pumpkins. Hundreds. Stacked, lined, glowing faintly from within. Each carved. Each different. Faces, rooms, entire scenes captured in orange flesh. And in the center, one empty pumpkin, the largest of all, uncarved, waiting. A whisper cut through the rain. "You came back." Daniel froze. The flashlight flickered. A figure stepped out from behind the pumpkin stacks. A woman. Her eyes black hollows, her face half frozen in a carved smile. Her voice was soft, almost kind. "You built this place once, didn't you?" He shook his head. "No, I just bought it." "Not this house," she said. "Every house. Every wall that holds a secret. Every board that breathes. You were the first to carve them open." She ran her hand along a pumpkin, and it flared to life, showing his kitchen, his face, his hands moving like a craftsman's. The knife. The wood. The beginning. He stumbled backward. "I don't understand." "You don't have to," she whispered. "You just have to finish." Daniel turned and ran. The attic steps groaned beneath him. He reached the hallway, only to find it gone. The walls had changed. They were smoother now, seamless. The doors had vanished. He pressed his hand against the wall. It was warm, and beneath his palm, a heartbeat. He backed away. The walls pulsed again, this time harder. Then came the sound. That same slow scrape, but now from everywhere. He spun around. The carvings along the baseboards were moving, deepening, extending, crawling across the floor, the ceiling, the walls. The house was carving itself. He ran to the window. Lightning flashed. His reflection looked back, but it wasn't him. The figure behind the glass smiled first, then raised its hand. In its grip, the same knife from his kitchen. It pressed the blade to the inside of the glass and began to carve letters in the reflection itself. "Last one." The words glowed faintly orange, bleeding through the rain. He turned to run, but the floor gave way. He fell through darkness, through layers of wood and dust and whispers. When he hit the ground, the knife was in his hand. The walls around him pulsed with light, carved patterns flickering in rhythm with his heartbeat. He felt it then, the truth he hadn't wanted to see. Every cut, every groove, every pumpkin. It had been him all along. His hands, his mind, his need to make something whole again. The house wasn't haunted. It was remembering. And now it was finishing the work he'd started. He screamed as the walls closed in. They didn't crush, they shaped. Each groove pressed against his skin, carving deep, slow lines. The pain wasn't sharp, it was patient. The rain roared outside. The sound of carving filled the air. Then silence. They found Daniel 3 days later. The realtor stood in the rain, holding a new for sale sign. She didn't go inside. She just looked at the porch. 4 pumpkins. All new. All freshly carved. The first 3 said, "Daniel was here." The fourth said, "Stay," and half buried in the mud beside them, the handle of a knife. Old. Rusted. The name barely visible, Hurst and Son Carpentry. Now the house waits. Every Halloween, another light flickers in the window. Another name carved beneath the porch. Neighbors say if you walk by when it rains, you can hear the sound of knives in the walls. Slow, steady, almost rhythmic. And if you listen long enough, you'll feel it too. A faint vibration beneath your skin. The house remembering you. Because some homes aren't built to be lived in. They're built to live through you. To carve what's left. And to keep carving, until you're part of the story. OUTRO, you've been listening to Bloody Chapter, where every story has a heartbeat, and some refuse to stop. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories that haunt the mind long after the sound fades.